We can have some words from you if you like.
All right.
All right, so we're broadcasting.
You've got 42. You can see at the bottom of your page how many participants you've got.
53, 59, everyone's coming in. So how do we see everyone, Brian?
I'm not sure that you can see them.
You can hit the participants button at the bottom if you go down to where your bar is at the bottom.
I see that.
If you hit participants, it'll bring up a sidebar. And you can see all the lovely people.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to see their face.
Well, you can't see them, but you can see who's on here.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping to see everyone's smiling face. I see a lot of names I recognize. Folks, we'll give it a couple more minutes. Attendees keep logging in. See, we're up to 106 now. Are you still there, Brian?
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. I'll ask everyone to forgive us a little bit. This is all very new to us, and our very first webinar that we have put out for training purposes. In the last few weeks, I have sat through many webinars and many Zoom meetings, as I suspect many of you have. So welcome, everyone. Our agenda today for our panelists, we have Amanda Lefevre with Division of Compliance Assistance. Sarah Gaddis will be speaking. She's the manager of the Field Operations Branch. And I see Alicia Jacobs is here with us, manager of the Drinking Water Branch. And I'll add Beth Jenkins, our other panelist, is definitely here for technical support and correct all the errors that I make today. So in kicking this off, we want to go through overview, some status of what's going on with DCA and operator certification. And I will turn this over to Amanda in just a second. I'm checking the chat box here. Okay. And also, just to let everyone know, this is being recorded. I guess, Brian, you're going to handle the chat box and any problems that come up, right?
Doing my best.
Doing your best. All right. Well, bear with us, folks. Amanda, I'm going to turn this over to you for your portion.
All right. Well, I'm going to attempt to show my screen right now and see how badly I can mess this up. As soon as I can find what I need to share. Can you see my slideshow?
I do not.
Okay, well, see, this is what happens. You do it perfectly yesterday, and then today you do not.
We had a dress rehearsal and everything yesterday.
I know, right?
Your dress rehearsal.
I think it's just a little delayed. Here, it popped.
Now can you see it?
I see your email.
Oh, goodness. Okay. I swear I'm more technologically capable than this. And I can't find where my share screen.
Bottom of your screen should show up as a green button.
All right. So now can you see the word Zoom?
No, at the moment I am seeing email.
Okay.
Email screen.
How about that?
Still the same.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start talking while I try to figure this out, because I actually just have one slide and it's not all that informational. So as you know, we're all struggling through, oh, wait a minute, here we go. There, now can we see it?
There, well, yes.
Okay, thank goodness, right? All right, nothing like making a fool of yourself on a webinar, first thing, right? So I'm just going to go over a little bit of the stuff that we're going through, you know, in terms of operator certification. Of course, everybody's sort of, you know, running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to figure out what to do with all of this. You know, and you guys, you're doing a great job, all of our operators and all our systems. And we're trying to make sure that we support you as much as we can. And we know that there's things that you really need to be thinking about right now and things that you don't need to be thinking about. And your license is not one of them. So we all know that this is a drinking water renewal year. And usually at this time, most of our operators would be running around getting their CEUs, getting everything ready for that June 30th deadline. Well, right now you're just trying to figure out how to staff your plants, how you're, you know, trying to figure out, you know, shift work and everybody staying healthy. So what we have asked the Cabinet Secretary to do and have received approval of is to waive late fees on renewals through August 31st of this year. You can renew up to that point and not incur any type of late fee. Now, this being said, because of the way our system is set up, we can't automatically just make everybody's license not expire. That takes a lot of coding in terms of our electronic databases and things like that. So technically, your license will expire on June 30th. But what we'll do is just waive that late fee. But what we're doing is also working with the Division of Water on facility inspections and alternate staffing to make sure that you do not incur any notices of violation during this grace period, just because you're trying to just do your normal plant staffing. So they know that this is going to be the lay of the land. We're working very closely to make sure that you don't incur a penalty just because you can't get CEUs and renew on that June 30th. Everything else stays in place. If there's something that occurs that we have to look at that August 31st date again, maybe our soft launch back into the new normal doesn't work out so well and we have to pull back into that restricted format, then we'll look at that August 31st date. We're very open and want to make sure that we are very aware of what's going on with you guys and can react accordingly. We are actually, as a division, looking at possible online certification and CEU classes because we don't know what the next months will bring. So we want to make sure that we're prepared one way or another. We're also looking at alternate testing scenarios. We know that's going to be an issue going forward. You know, most of our stuff, we have multiple people in a room, you know, anywhere from 50 to 80. So right now that's not a very, very kosher thing to have. So we're looking at different ways that we can launch back once we get some sort of clearance to go back to some sort of new normal. So it's very much evolving, and I would just say that to you know, contact us at any point. If you have any questions, my email address was on there. You can also email us at envhelp@ky.gov at any point in time. And we can actually answer certain questions or get you to some other person within the department that way as well. So we can make sure that we get you where you need to go. So that's pretty much it for the OpCert update. Like I said, we're sort of rolling with the punches, trying to be very cognizant of the fact that you guys are in emergency mode and you don't want to have to worry about your hours right now. And, you know, all of us are trying to figure out how to do CEUs online and do Zoom meetings and share your screen properly. Yeah, I did this perfectly yesterday. I kid you not. But today, you know, when the cameras are rolling, just can't quite pull the rabbit out of the hat. So, but please feel free to contact us. You know, if you have preferred formats or anything like that, let us know, because we're trying to, you know, make decisions here and trying to figure out how we can serve you guys. So we're trying to, you know, can we do you know, operator courses online and have you test somewhere else? So we're trying to figure out how to make it work, how to make sure that we continue to service to you guys and not make life any harder than it already is right now. So we thank you for all that you're doing out in your communities, and keep at it, and let us know how we can help. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Gaddis, who probably knows how to share her screen.
Well, we shall see.
Thanks.
We'll see if we can make this work. How are we doing?
That looks good.
Okay. Let's see if it will go into presentation mode. Okay. Good deal. So, hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm the manager of, hey, it says Compliance and Technical Assistance Branch. This is obviously a slide that I pulled out of an old presentation. It is now the Field Operations Branch. So I manage all 10 regional offices, supervisors, and inspectors that you guys are used to seeing out and about in your systems. And so I want to talk to you a little bit today just about our response, things that we've got going on. Those of you that have been on ad calls and water council calls, you've already heard some of this, but I'm going to go into the e-notification system a little bit more in detail because that's a really important piece. This is stuff that you know, but this is what brings everything home to me. 437 public water systems, 900 plus wastewater plants that we have in the state. This is what we have to be healthy at home. We know that. We know we got to keep these plants going. We got to keep people going. And thank you guys for doing your part on that. Water is, you know, out of sight, out of mind, and people don't miss it till they don't have it. And so just please understand that we appreciate all of your efforts and everything that you're doing, and we're here to support you. And as our governor likes to say, we'll get through this together, and we'll do our best to help you guys through it too. So what could go wrong, right? We're talking about Eastern Kentucky right now. We're talking, fortunately, I think we're going to have everybody back in water by the time we leave for the weekend today, which is awesome. But at the beginning of the week, we had 40 to 50,000 people out of water. And 12 hours without water, I say I'm headed to a friend's house for a shower. That's really hard to do in this atmosphere. And also I'm running to the store to get bottled water. Well, if everyone in the community is going to the store to get bottled water, they're going to that same location where they're going to go pick that up. It's not good social distancing. It's a problem for our current situation in terms of the disease. So we want to be very careful and intentional about, if things do go wrong, how we handle those things. But the best scenario is to keep everything up and running and operating normally. So today there are a few things I want to talk to you about. The first is the status of our inspections and field work, when to contact your regional office, who to contact in that regional office, and then we're going to talk about e-notification in a little bit more detail, and then we'll talk about the future a little bit. Hopefully some of you guys have seen our inspectors out delivering hand sanitizer. It was provided by Buffalo Trace, manufactured and donated by Buffalo Trace, and we had 4,800 bottles of hand sanitizer that went out to our 10 regional offices, and it was very easily distributed very quickly. I've already gotten all the reports back in. It took less than, I think, 3 days to distribute all of that hand sanitizer, and we have requests for more. So this is a picture of lovely Abby from our Florence regional office delivering to Gallatin County. And so we are out there and we're trying to remain in contact from 6 feet away, of course, or more, and remain in contact with our system, support them in any way we can. But we're not going in your drinking water plants. We're not going in your wastewater plants. We don't want to get operators sick. That's the most important thing to us right now, is to keep our operators safe and healthy. And we fully understand that an inspector that goes from facility to facility could be a vector, and to actually spread that disease among operators. And I can't imagine anything worse than having multiple operators in a region actually end up sick because we chose to inspect. So we quit doing that last month. Even before people started going home, I told my folks, stay out of the plants, let them do their business. If they want to chain the gates and keep the public out, that is their prerogative right now. Let's let them do their business. But we're going to stay in touch. We're going to talk, and we are going to be in your distribution systems. We're going to be checking chlorines. We'll call, we'll ask questions if we have questions, we'll offer support. A lot of the, I want to say a lot of the water systems should have already heard from our inspectors about cleaning SOPs. That's one of the things that we've asked people to do, is to develop a cleaning SOP for drinking water and wastewater plants in this time when we have to be better about making sure that we're cleaning. Well, I go in a lot of water plants, and I know that water plants tend to be clean anyway. But if you have a COVID positive situation in a drinking water plant, you want to be able to answer the public very quickly about what you were already doing proactively to stop the spread of the disease in that plant, so that there's never any question about your drinking water. We know how drinking water works. The public doesn't always know how drinking water works. We know that there's a very low risk or no risk really, if you're treating drinking water and sending it out to the system, that anybody's going to be infected in that way. But when you can come back and say, the water's disinfected, it's sent into the system, it's safe. Not only that, we've taken all these extra steps to sanitize our plant even before this occurred, so there's no transmission occurring in the plant. It'll make the public feel better. It's one of the first questions we get. So we have asked inspectors to reach out and have people do those SOPs. And in fact, most inspectors have said, hey, send me a copy of that, just to make sure it's done. So if that's something that you haven't done, please take that extra step and just add that layer of covering yourself by having that done. So we are going to continue to do KPDS inspections, with the exception, KYG 64s, I'm not sure about for backwash, but we're continuing to look at a lot of our KPS permits. We're just not going in plants. We're not doing raw sewage right now. We're continuing to respond to complaints and incidents. So if there is a complaint about drinking water or about wastewater, if there are overflows that are called in, we are going to investigate those. We're going to have people on site. We're going to be contacting you about those. So again, we're going to be in touch. And then finally, the technical assistance. Like I said, Abby and all the other inspectors have been out delivering hand sanitizer. They've said that it's about as much fun as they've had in this job in a long time, getting to go around and kind of play Santa Claus and hand this out, and people are glad to see them. Even operators that typically aren't glad to see us coming have been kind of happy to see us come, so that's nice. But anyway, so that's our current status, and that's what we're doing in the field. So when do you want to contact us? When do we want you to contact us? If you have outages, we want to know, and that's in fairly, if it's isolated to a certain area and they're going to be out for a while, just let us know that that's going to occur so that we can address that pretty quickly and keep people at home. If you have issues that involve a hospital or a monitoring site, we want you to let us know. And by the way, these are all outlined in a great document that Alicia and her staff put together and sent out on the 26th of March. Hopefully you guys received it. But if you didn't, we can get you a copy of that guidance, and it's also available on the Division of Water website. There's a great link on there that Alicia worked very hard to get put together, a story map where you can go on and find all the critical information about our response to COVID-19. So anyway, issues involving hospital or monitoring sites, E. coli positives, supply chain issues. We're not hearing a lot about problems with chemical supply and that kind of stuff, but I know other states are starting to experience that some. And a lot of that, some of it is linked to the ethanol industry not being in high production right now. And so, you know, the industry uses chemicals that are generated from that process. So, but we haven't been hearing anything about that recently or here in Kentucky. Issues with laboratories right now, Alicia, maybe you can nod. We still have 100% lab capacity, right? We've got all of our labs up and running. Yep, so there should be no lab capacity issue right now.
No, we've checked in with everybody and everybody's still up and running.
That's great. And so then, you know, you go into low pressure boil water advisories, you should be notifying us anyway. But, you know, we want to make sure that those are coming through. We're asking you to do boil water advisories through e-notification. And then operator shortages, even before there's a shortage, if you have an illness in your plant, or if you have a situation where right now we have several operators quarantined throughout the state because of their contacts with other people who are COVID positive, or there is some fear that they might be COVID positive. So when that occurs, even if it doesn't create a shortage on your staff, please let us know, because that's one person that you don't have for redundancy. And we just need to kind of keep everybody on the radar. We want to check back in with you. We want to make sure that everybody's healthy and back at work. And we're doing a lot of that right now. So Alicia can speak to some of these others, but if you have anything that's screwball, something that comes up that's just like, yeah, this isn't normal, just call the regional office and let them know. Now, we are 100% teleworking. We're all working from home, or from, the inspectors are working from their trucks a lot, but all of their desk phones are forwarded to their cell phones. So if you call their office, you're going to get them on their cell phone. And even if you call the main number at a regional office, that call is going to be transferred to someone, so we can get you to someone. So all the numbers that you have are still valid. But if you have an emergency, or if you have one of these outstanding situations, this is a list of phone numbers to call for each office. This is, again, in that great guidance that Alicia and her staff put out. And by and large, yep, they're all supervisors in these regional offices. And the cell phone, or the numbers that are provided, sometimes are their cell phone numbers as opposed to their office numbers. And I ask them to provide me with the number that would get them the fastest. And every week when we have staff meeting, I say, you better be on top of those numbers. Don't let a call get through without answering it. And so if they aren't available for some reason, they have that number forwarded to someone to answer that phone number. So if you just keep this in your pocket, in your region, you know who to call, then you can always get to the field office. So this brings us to e-notification. E-notification is an old system. And I'm going to tell you that since I've been manager of this branch, it's been a few years now, 5 years, I've wanted to overhaul the system. Well, this is not the time. We need it to be functional, and we're just going to leave it as it is for now. But I put this link up here, and if we send this presentation out after our meeting here, then you'll be able to use that link. That link takes you to the e-notification registration. And I've just pulled some screenshots out of a guidance that we can also send you if you are not already registered on e-notification. E-notification is used on the drinking water and wastewater sides. You can use the e-notification to notify boil water advisories. It also asks for very pertinent information that sometimes we don't receive from phone calls or messages. Things like, are there hospitals affected? Are there healthcare facilities affected? And you know, what part of the system is affected? When do you expect it to be resolved? There are some very strategic questions that are asked in the e-notification that provides us with better information than sometimes we get on a phone call anyway. So The other benefit to using that system is that once you enter it at your facility, you hit enter, then it immediately goes to the inbox in our database for an inspector to review. So it's an automated process. They automatically get it. There's no voicemail. There's no paper laying somewhere waiting for someone to respond to that. And they check those daily. So we can use it on boil water advisories, or we can use it on bypasses or SSOs, any kind of routine spill. Now, it's not for an emergency. So if you have some sort of major spill or someplace where there is an imminent threat to human health or the environment, that's not what the system's for. That you need to call the 800 number for, or call these regional office numbers. But anyway, so if you go to this link, then you have a login page. There's a register link, or it's underneath the login. And if you don't have a login already, that's where you'll go and click that register link. And I put the steps over here to the right, just because I hate going into a system and not knowing what information I'll need. You know, you always start on those new accounts and you get halfway down, you're like, oh, I need this piece of paper to answer that question. Well, this is all you need. So you really should have everything you need in order to create that new account if that's what you need to do. Now, after you submit, there will be an email that goes to the registrant, the person who just entered all that information, with a temporary username and password. And then that account will then be under administrative review by DEP. They'll review the application, and then they'll send you an email after that with an approval or denial. You'll use that temporary username and password. You'll go in and log in, and then it'll automatically have you change your password. So it's something that you remember. It's not just a computer generated password. So just keep in mind that there is a manual process in there where somebody that's a DEP administrative person is going to review that account. So there's going to be a little bit of a delay. Don't wait until you have a boil water advisory to register, is what I'm telling you. Go ahead and get that done, get familiar with the system, and be ready to enter when it comes to that time. I need to move my screen a little bit here so that I can see what I have on the screen. So I have this next screen is what comes up after you log in. And I wanted to point out the two tabs, notification and manage user. Manage user, when you create a new account, you want to go in, and that's where you'll add new users, you'll add existing users. So if you have someone that is going to report into the system that also already reports for a different system, you can add them into your system there. You delete users there when you have employees that leave. But you can also request to submit for multiple agency interests in there. So if you manage multiple facilities or data for multiple facilities, you can use an option there to work on that. And then in addition, the notification tab is where you're going to go to actually input data that we're interested in receiving. So once you get your account all set up, then you're going to go to the notifications tab, and there you'll choose drinking water or wastewater, and different forms will come up with each of those options. So this shows you a little bit, it shows you where it says report an incident at the top, then you'll click on fill out a form, and that fills out the internet form for the incident that you're interested in reporting. And I just pulled up this example for drinking water. I'm going to show you two screens that show you the whole form for everything that is involved in a drinking water e-notification. Just like I said, because I don't like surprises, I figure other people don't either. But if this is something you've never done, it might be a little daunting. So there are all these fields to fill out. And if you can see, you know, at the type of notification, you're going to enter drinking water up there, and then it's going to change the form to be tailored to the drinking water emergency. Or if you're entering a wastewater, you put in wastewater and it changes the form. And so it gives you a start time and an end time. Once you have actually entered the notification and hit submit, there's going to be a link that appears in the right-hand corner of this form that allows you to go back in and edit and add end times for your event. So you can see the fields here, and then this is the second part that's on that same page, that whole form. And so there you enter in some very specific data about again, this is the drinking water form. It's different for wastewater. But just so everybody is aware of what they'll be asked, I just want you to see these forms. So just a couple of other notes. When you need to lift a boil water advisory, if it's during normal business hours, the regional office is going to lift it. That's the way it always is. Be sure you have those results emailed to the inspector and the supervisor at the office. Don't have labs send a fax right now. There's no one there to get the fax. I'm surprised actually at how many people we have that still use fax for communication. This is not the time. Let's move to email. That's the most direct route to get your boil water advisory lifted. And after hours, you'll call the emergency response number, the 800 number, and speak to the officer on duty at the Emergency Operations Center, and you can get a lift that way. During this time, if you call the numbers that are associated with the regional offices, and if you email in some the information, the analyticals, they'll lift for you all hours. They're ready for this. And then I've already mentioned the cleaning SOPs. So I did want to say a couple of things about the future. There are some things that we've got to pay attention to as we get back to work and we get back to business. I suspect that it's going to be a little while before we're in a reboot situation. But when we do, I think it's going to be a long time before we don't have to worry about illness. And so I would encourage you to, right now, dust off those emergency response plans and make sure that you're really paying attention to the details of those plans. This is a brand new scenario that we have not been training for. I think back to earlier in the year, I spent a few days over in Western Kentucky with Joe and his crew doing tabletop exercises for earthquakes, right? Because we're all concerned about how that would disrupt infrastructure. You know, what if people just can't come to work? And everything else is not, but people just can't come to work. We typically haven't covered that. Joe fortunately has some answers for us on that in terms of people that could step up and help. But we really need to look at those emergency response plans with new eyes today, and think about how we will handle situations going forward. We need to think about how we're going to conduct business until we're sure we're safe. And for a long time, I suspect this is going to include some element of social distancing and sanitizing and hand washing. And, you know, I'm sending, we call the hand sanitizer from Buffalo Trace Hooch. So I'm sending Hooch out with my inspectors to clean their hands also. But we're also creating mobile hand washing stations in our trucks. We're adapting. We're putting water tanks, like camping water things in the back of their trucks with a bottle of soap and a roll of paper towels. And we've written an SOP on how to tear off the paper towel and grab the handle and move it to the tailgate and turn it 90 degrees and use that on the spigot, because if anybody asks us, we want to say this is how we do it. SOPs have probably never been more important. In this time, I think that that we can all go the extra mile right now and really be thoughtful and considerate of how we can do our jobs better and going forward. So I'll quit talking now. I have no idea how much time I used, Joe. I'm sorry about that. But Joe's got all kinds of new and exciting things to tell you about. So I'm going to start sharing.
Thank you, Sarah, for that. I guess I'll ask you quickly the burning question that everybody must have about this hand sanitizer. Is it scented? Is it bourbon scented?
It smells like alcohol, not really bourbon.
Oh, okay, all right.
If it was bourbon, people might save it back for cologne. But
okay.
It has a very strong alcohol scent. In fact, our first shipment had some that didn't have caps on very well. And the people transporting knew very quickly that the caps were loose.
I understand. Well,
Yeah,
thank
a lot of vapor.
you. Okay, we are going to jump into the other part of this that I'm sure everyone's been waiting for and probably thinks it's been a long time in coming. We've talked about electronic reporting and electronic submittal and different forms and fashions of that. So the process that we're going to go through has been, I guess we've been really working on it for the last year and a half, working with Division of Water, and they've had a lot of changes and continue to have those changes as well. Most recently, in the last year, they basically reassembled or reorganized the drinking water branch. And since then, Alicia was named the manager of that branch, and I've worked closely with her on a lot of this form development and how we can roll this out, at least on the operator side. And I want to take this opportunity to thank her for all her help and guidance in this as well. Alicia, have you got anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah, sure. Can you guys hear me?
Hear you fine. Thank you.
Good. So unlike Sarah and keeping the old process, we are introducing this in the middle of an emergency, but I think it's a good time. It'll cut down our mail, and we've had all kinds of mail issues. Since I've been here, I've noticed. So I'm excited to have this process available to water systems. We've already had some folks submit with the e-form, and it's been successful. I want to thank the Commissioner's Office really for prioritizing the development of the e-form. Tony Hatton listened when I said I had a problem, and he got it off the ground and moved it forward so OAS could develop it. Nalima Konda is the developer, and then the drinking water branch compliance staff, especially Ashley Sparks and Beth Jenkins is my environmental scientist. She worked really hard on this. So I want to thank them for helping me out with this. And then Sarah and Amanda, and especially Joe, like Joe said, we've talked through a lot of this and how it would work and whether or not it would work. And this training was Joe's idea, and I thought it was a really great idea with Amanda to get CEU. So I appreciate, and I hope the water systems appreciate how much Joe, looks out for them and thinks of them when we're talking. So it's a good partnership and a good perspective for me. So thank you guys, and all the water systems too. Like Sarah said, you guys are frontline, and we appreciate that. And I'm sitting here drinking my water, and I saw Sarah drinking hers. So we appreciate having this service, and nobody appreciates it, until it's gone. It's kind of invisible. So thank you guys. Thanks, Joe.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm going to do share the screen and see if this will work as advertised. How was that for everyone? The slideshow showing up? Good, good. Okay. So we are going to, I need to move this out of my way. Okay. So we're going to talk about the new electronic drinking water compliance reporting tool, or the process for this. Now, this is not, if you are doing ePortal, this is a different system. This is also does not function like NetDMR from the aspect that your data is going directly into the compliance database. What this does is facilitate a means for you to get your drinking water compliance reports submitted to the cabinet, to Division of Water, and bypass the whole fiasco of our mail system that we've had. So getting into this, all right. So what we're going to talk about today is creating the Kentucky Online Gateway account, which you have to access the eForm system. We're going to go through the system, which eForm that you will use to upload your documents, And then we're going to talk about electronic documents in general, as far as what forms are being created. We went through a big process and a long discussion of how to be able to provide a process to sign documents. So we're going to go through a little bit of the e-signature process, and specifically, I'm sure what everyone wants to know is, how do I upload my MORs every month and not have to mail them any longer? And that's the last part of this presentation. Now, I've noticed that the question and answer button is active, and we already have a few questions. If you have any as we go along, just click that, put your question in, and at the end, we will answer that for everyone. So we will move along. Now, Kentucky Online Gateway. Many of you, maybe a couple years ago, in order to renew your drinking water discharge permit, had to log into and create a Kentucky One-Stop Business account. So for those of you who have those accounts, you're going to have to create a new one, because that system was not migrated over to the online gateway. So to get to the gateway, you can type in the address that's shown on the slide, or for the rest of the world and myself, I just Googled KOG, and it comes right up. You click on Kentucky Online Gateway, and it will bring you to a screen by which you can sign in if you have an existing account, or follow the red arrow to create. And a lot of this presentation is screenshots. So when everything's concluded, all the documents that I reference in here that we discuss, and including the presentation itself, we will go ahead over the weekend and get that uploaded to our website, and share that with Division of Water as well for upload on their site. And you'll be able to go back and review all of this and have the resources at hand. So through a series of screenshots, I'm just going to walk everyone through these processes. So to create an account, it's very straightforward, very easy to do. Fill in the form. Of course, all the boxes with an asterisk are required. Now, I will tell you, we're going to get to the password portion of this, and it will be somewhat like NetDMR for those of you who are familiar with that, and that your password will expire over time, and you'll have to set new ones. So I commonly forget some of the passwords I use, and answering these questions so that you can recover your password is very important. So you fill out that form, you hit submit, and you'll get the next window, and you see I've got circled here. You've got 4 hours to complete the process. So I figure if some of you get sidetracked, running one of your 4-hour turbidities and don't get back to it for a while, you'll be okay. What the system will do is send a confirmation email. You'll click on this link. It'll take you back to the system to further validate your account. Now, typically the easiest way, certainly the way that I normally use in this two-step validation, and for security purposes, is to use your cell number. And it's already set up for a mobile phone number. Enter the information, and it'll send you a passcode. You'll enter the passcode in step 2 that you see on the screen. Validate, and you continue to sign in after that. Pretty straightforward process. Now, you got to make a decision. Are you going to be an organ donor? This is the next question that comes up on the screen. So you can register now or have it remind you later. Okay, so one thing that after logging in, I didn't realize how many e-forms and how many agencies and divisions and branches have e-forms. So the quickest way is to use the search bar at the top. You can just type the letter E, you will get various agencies that begin with E. And what you want to find is the EEC e-forms, and you want to click the button to enroll. After you've done that, when you log into your account, you will always have the e-form launch button right at hand. So you won't have to search for this any longer. Okay, when you launch that, it takes you to the e-forms app page or their home page. And what I have highlighted are probably the two most commonly used icons on this page that you're going to use, the dashboard and the forms. So to select your e-form, you have when you look as far as the energy environment cabinet goes and all the divisions underneath, there are hundreds and hundreds of e-forms. So to shortcut this, you can use these fields to quickly locate your form. If you use the form name in number 1, if you were to just type drinking and hit return or enter on your keyboard, it would pull up drinking water labeled forms. If you want to go directly to the form that you need to use for this process, you go to Form ID, Step 2, and unfortunately it's blocked by the drop-down menu, but it is Form 169. And when you hit the filter button, you just want to hit click on equal to, and what you'll see at the bottom in number 5 takes you to the drinking water information and data submittal form. Now, if you're like me, at some point, you'll want to see what else is out there, and you'll scroll through, and guess what? You're going to find another form that actually says Drinking Water Monthly Operating Report Form. This is Form 135, and you don't want to use this. If you try to submit your MOR using this form, I don't believe it'll even make it to its destination. So this was the kind of a first generation, and it's still under development. It actually was being developed when this pandemic hit, and in order to kind of accommodate everyone and the possibility of not having mail service, at least internally for all the agencies to have that delivered to their offices, and have all your MORs sitting in limbo somewhere. Alicia and her team quickly scrambled and came up with a very generic submittal e-form for everyone to use. So anyway, Form 135, just say no. So form you want to use, Form 169. All you need to do on this form is enter your PWS ID number. You can hit tab or enter at that point, and it will populate your agency interest number from the drinking water database. It'll also populate the facility information section. So your name, facility name and address will suddenly appear. Now, your AI number, you'll see that it's grayed out and it can't be edited. The facility information, you can click in those fields, you can make changes, and if you were to change the address and hit submit, it would not change it on the database side. So you don't have to worry about clicking and messing anything up in the information portion. So the part you'll focus on is section 4. And this is where you put in your company name. The company name is also in here because those that are in our compliance check and with other technical assistance providers, they can actually go in and submit documents on your behalf. So we have this set up. You put in your company name, your phone number, everything with an asterisk is required information. Enter your name, your email address, and then we end up at upload file. Now, in order to facilitate the file upload on the compliance staff side in drinking water, we want to get down to naming all of the, especially the MOR, which I have the example of right here, is to use this naming convention, as you see, PWSID _ MOR _ and the 4-digit month and year. Once you navigate to the file that you've named that, to your MOR or other document, it could be level 1 assessment, let's say. So instead of _MOR, you would put _RTCR. Anyway, you get down to step 5, and that's where you'll submit and upload your document. At that point, you're done. Now, you just send it off, and you're probably curious, where is it? Did it get there? And this is where your dashboard comes in handy. You go back to the dashboard. Well, actually, I've gotten ahead of myself. What I want to show you also is if you have other documents to upload. Since you've uploaded the first document, subsequent documents, so that you don't have to fill out the user portion every time, you can select the previous document that you uploaded and then click the Create New Form with the previously saved data. And what that will do is, we go back, it'll bring up the form that you last sent and the information as far as who prepared and sent the upload in section 4 here will still be populated. So you don't have to go through that a second time. Now, here we go. Dashboard document tracking. So if you go where we had forms and click on your dashboard, you'll see you have, there's an email system. You have incompleted forms, and I've had several failed attempts. So you see that the number is 6. I need to talk to Beth about how to get rid of those. I'm not sure how to do that yet. So after you have done your, completed your upload, you can go to eForms Pending, as you see circled here. And you'll see the last, you'll see what forms are pending if you submitted multiple forms at the end of the month, or basically one after the other. Several will show up here. So you have the transaction ID, the form name, transaction date, and then the status. And this one that I did a test upload today just to show you what it says. It says pending review by EEC admin staff. If you click on the bar or on the icon here that says completed forms. So far I've played around with this and uploaded 12 different documents. And you'll see the same information, transaction, the form name, the date, and also that it's completed. So now you can upload your MOR, you can track and see that it's pending, and then you can see when it's the admin staff has processed that file and it's in the system. So compliance documents. I'm sure this is where what everyone's interested in right now. So status of e-signature documents. What's been finalized so far is the MOR and the BAC-T site form. The CCR certification form is awaiting approval, and there are several forms under development. Our whole process is ongoing and undergoing development as we speak, and will continue to do so. So the next things will be the PN certification, OELs, level 1 assessments, and lead and copper certification, since lead and copper sampling is on our heels. Okay, so monthly operating report. There's a new MOR that's been uploaded. Alicia had sent out an email with instructions and the link to download the new eMOR. And what you'll see different about this is below the signature block that you normally see is an X and a place for a electronic signature. Now, this is where things get a little tricky because it's Excel, it's Microsoft, and things are sometimes just difficult dealing with Windows. What you need to set up, and I had initially had several screenshots to walk us through doing this process. But in the meantime, I had a couple phone calls from some utilities asking, hey, can you help me with this? And due to different versions of Windows being updated at different times, the same thing with Microsoft Office having different versions, the instructions that you get online don't really facilitate me being able to talk somebody through it on the phone, because everyone's system seems to be slightly different. So what we will, with the conclusion of this and the documents that we put on the website, will be a document that will give directions on how to do this for each version of Windows. Now, I'm going to take this chance to recommend everybody, especially in our world of heightened cybersecurity, that if you're using anything, I guess, below Windows 8, and by the way, Windows 8 support will go away in 2023. But if you're using, if you have a machine with Windows 7 or anything below that, this is a great opportunity to upgrade maybe your hardware and definitely your software, because all of those previous versions are certainly vulnerable to cyber attacks. Okay, so the part with this process, you have to create a digital certificate, is what Microsoft calls this. Some of the documents that will be coming out are in Adobe Acrobat format, and that process that Acrobat has is very, very straightforward when you click on a document to set up your electronic signature. Not so much with Microsoft. But I'm going to go through the process after you've created the certificate. You may have to go and find somebody in your system that is pretty maybe a bit more computer savvy than yourself to get this done. But never fear, you may not get it done this month, you may not get it done next, but with this upload system, you can always take your MOR, you can always print, sign, and now you can scan it into a PDF and then just upload the PDF. The ability to directly sign the spreadsheet just makes it several steps easier. Okay, so for the new MOR template, it'll open up just like your blank template. You'll have to enable editing. What you'll see new is circled here. It says View Signatures. That'll certainly tell you that you're using the newest MOR. And from there, you'll go ahead and fill out the MOR as normal. Don't click on View Signatures until the end. what the when you actually sign the document, it saves it and converts it to a read-only format. So when you're at that point, after you filled everything in as the one I have showing here, you'll click View Signatures, and it opens this signature pane on the right side of the open window, and there's a place for 4 signatures, as there are 4 pages in the MOR. Certainly, if you're a surface water plant, that you'll fill out or have to sign. Let me see okay, e-signature window. We'll step through this quickly and get to a few questions I know everyone's going to have. You click to sign. There's a down arrow. When you hit sign, or when you click on sign rather, it opens up the signature window. Now, you remember my saying about, or talking about a digital certificate. What I have circled here, when that certificate has been enabled, you're able to give it whatever name you like, and I call this one Drinking Water DW Compliance. It'll appear in this box, and that certificate will have to be there in order to be able to sign this. So for signing it, you just have to type your name in the box. Now, there's not a separate line for the date as there is above when you normally sign the MOR. So you'll need to type in your name, a couple spaces, and put in the date that you signed it. And just to step you through the process, once you type that in and hit sign, you'll get a couple context or a couple boxes that will appear. And all you want to do is click yes, click OK. And as you can see here, you have now signed your MOR. You'll do this 3 more times on whichever pages that you need to sign for your system. I know the surface water plants certainly have more pages than distribution systems, or even more so than groundwater. But so you'll just sign the appropriate pages for your utility. At that point, you are ready to submit your MOR and log into the online gateway and follow the steps to Form 169. And Alicia looks confused. Do you have a question? You're looking awful hard at that.
No, we were just looking. I was looking at the questions in the Q&A.
Oh, that was your, okay.
I'm talking about.
Let me stop my share at this point. Okay. Let's see. So have we been answering questions?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, we need to read these out for everyone else because.
Yeah, that's what I figured we could do.
Yeah, we should do that. So question, do we still file paper copies of our MOR after this? Once you're able to upload and begin uploading, you want to take that, Alicia?
Yes, you do not need to you're not required to file a paper copy anymore. Once you upload the electronic submittal, that counts as your submittal. And as Joe showed you, you get a receipt, so you know that it's here. And we'll be really careful following up in the next couple months to make sure that we've got everything.
Okay. The other question, this next question actually goes back to, I guess, e-notification. It says, until a district is registered for e-notification, who are we to report the boil water advisory during business hours?
So that's a question for us, and you're just going to continue to report those to the regional office as you have before. You can call into those numbers that were part of my presentation, or the number that you normally have should get you someone in the office. to report that boil water advisory. But again, I encourage you to get signed up for that e-notification as soon as you can, so that you can put that system into use.
Okay, thanks. Question, copy the PowerPoint presentation. By Monday morning, the presentation will be on our website, and I suspect DOW's as well. Or our utility address.
I
Not
can answer.
sure what, go ahead if you have.
I'm
some
sorry,
information on
that
this.
one's come up. So when you're creating an account, you can use either, create your own account, or you can create one for your utility. It's really kind of a business rule. So it's up to your utility, how you want to handle that. If you want to have different people create their own accounts and do submittals, or if you want to have one submittal account.
Okay, so this gets us back to, if you create an account for your utility or for your water plant, let's say, then if someone is retiring out or leaving, they definitely need to share that password with who's coming in next. If you get in a situation where it's not being shared and you're locked out, never fear, because you can create a personal account and still accomplish the same thing. Okay, does the MOR have to be in, a spreadsheet, or can PDF be used? Absolutely, PDF can be used. There's going to be other documents coming up that are PDFs themselves. So if you have a scanner, or if you can print well, you'll still have to scan this, I suspect. But if you can, you'll print your MOR, sign it, scan it as a PDF, and I recommend to compress the file size of that PDF. You should have an option to optimize or make the scan as a searchable PDF, and that dramatically shrinks the file size. So, but yes, you can do that and upload it in the same process and just attach a PDF and use the same naming convention that we showed earlier. Okay, I've edited the eMOR file we got from DOW, and for the MOR to allow me to generate from our database and remove pages. I know Alicia answered that. Do you understand that question?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. Or you can print it and sign it and make it a PDF and send it to us. Same answer.
Okay.
Works.
All right, so we have just a few more here. So, so do we still need, here's a good one. Do we still need to have, required to have paper copies at our office for inspection?
So my answer to that is yes. And that's for a couple of reasons. One, available for inspection, obviously, but also because you need to keep a paper backup of those records so that you can monitor the operations of your plant. I mean, we've all had computers that have gone down and lost files, and we'll have those available in the database back at central office. Once you submit them, they'll be uploaded to that database. And yes, inspectors will be able to see it in the database. However, you need to maintain a copy for your own records, and that's the main reason that we would inspect them on site, is to make sure that you have your records available and up to date.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks. Next question is, and I'll paraphrase some of this, that or give you some context. So if someone prints their MOR, signs it, and let's say in order to get it scanned, it goes over to City Hall, can someone else then submit and do the upload? And the answer to that is absolutely yes, they can do that. And then again, another question for MOR. Let's see. I suspect this question is, can we submit the MOR in signed PDF? I suspect someone is talking about being able to print from the spreadsheet to a PDF document and then use their Adobe signature. And yes, that will work as well. Okay.
And Joe, if you want to click on, there's open questions, there's 11 there.
I see that. You want to do those?
Well, the first one I wasn't quite sure about. So if you want to look at that one, I think you covered it at the beginning.
I can probably step in here. Hi, Beth.
Thanks, Beth.
Hey. Okay, so just because of the way that the question's worded, so One Stop is an application, as are the EEC e-forms. COG, the Kentucky Online Gateway, is the umbrella of those applications. So if you have a COG account, you have access to One Stop and you have access to e-forms. But COG is not the same thing as One Stop, and One Stop's not quite the same thing as COG. I don't know if that's making sense. But, so basically, whatever credential you are using to be able to sign into your One Stop, you should be able to use those credentials within COG, because technically you're already doing that. Does that make sense? Did I answer that question enough?
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, they're both, One Stop and eForms are both web applications that are accessible through COG.
Okay.
And then the next one actually is one for Beth too.
Okay.
Do you know the answer to that one?
Do you get a confirmation email after the MOR submitted? Oh, you know, I wish you did.
You do on the MOR, but not on this one.
And I don't think that you do on the on form 169.
Okay.
Just because it's available in the dashboard, and honestly, I don't think that we ever developed it.
Okay, so you can download that confirmation from the dashboard though.
Absolutely, yeah. All of this is still visible within your COG, like in your eForms dashboard. And you'll be able to see it like step by step of exactly where it is. But I do not believe that you're going to receive an email saying that you got something submitted.
That would be correct. As you saw, that I had uploaded 12 documents, and no, there's no email receipt that comes with those.
All right. The next one is about receiving a new MOR document. So you can download that from the website, or if you shoot me an email, I will send you a copy of it. And then we have, can you sign PDF copies of the MOR with an electronic pen, such as an Apple Pencil or stylus? Yeah, I have no idea how you do that, but go for it. I think that sounds like a good option.
Well, you can. I've played with that.
Okay.
I'm working off a Microsoft Surface tablet, and with the pen, yes, you can sign the box.
Okay, good deal. The long term, yeah, the LT2 forms, this question is about submitting the LT2 water surface treatment rule documentation along with the MOR. I believe, yes, you should go ahead and submit it, but I can double check the answer to that question. I know we get those with some of those, so I'll check on that. But yeah, you can do that electronically, and I'll check on whether or not it's required to and get back to you. Yes, there is a link. It's on. So the next question, is there a link to the new EMR files? And it is on the DOW page. I don't know if you guys have a link to it on Rural Water.
Well, it will be there.
Okay.
Put this all the documents for the training, for this training webinar online.
Okay. So the next question is about more paperwork. being submitted. And yes, you can submit anything, anything, you know, that you would normally submit to us by mail, you can submit to us through this e-form. It's just like going to the post office, only you just do it on your computer. And that's, yeah, that's all of that one. There is a question. Oh, sorry, Joe.
I was going to say on the back T sample paperwork for those systems, those utilities that have their own back T lab. I know some still mail the lab results in. I'm sure you and especially Kevin would much rather have that uploaded through ePortal. And if you can assist anybody in doing that, we'll be glad to do so.
Yeah, the ePortal is a little different, but yes. The question I have here is, what if the person filling out the MOR is different than the signatory? So then the signatory would just have to sign, and then whoever does the upload does the upload. I don't think that's a problem at all. So I'm not sure if that answers the question or not. And then, okay, I'll grab this one. Let's see. This is the question is this a mandate, recommendation method? It is a recommendation. It's not a mandate yet. So we would have to put that into regulations, and it's not. So we would prefer to have it electronically if we can, but you can still drop it by, or you can still mail it in. It's not mandated. Somebody asked about sending in a PN response earlier this week on eForms. You can send us an email to make sure we got it, but it is not under construction. It says earlier, it said the section is under construction. I think Joe was referring to Form 135. If you submitted it under Form 169, you should be all good. We do not have so the next question is about new state forms for chemical analysis results to download. We're working on those. They're not ready yet. So you can just keep checking back. I just got an email. My computer's dinging here. We have the CCR up and the PN certification up for new forms that have that PDF electronic signature. They're on our website right now.
Let me
sorry.
interject here. That's okay. So the new forms you're developing are typically going to be like fillable forms to make
Yes.
it easier to do so, to make just a smooth, completely electronic process. But the existing forms that are paper, you can still use those. You can sign and scan them and still upload for compliance. So you don't have to wait. You don't have to sit there and say, well, crap, still have to mail this until they get this new form up. You can go ahead with the current form. If like at the moment, if you had a level 1 assessment, there's not a form created for that yet. You can complete the form, print it, sign it, and if you'll scan, and you can upload that to the system. So you don't have to wait on the fillable form to come out.
They're just to make it easier. So, yep.
It's just to make the workflow easier.
Okay, the next question is, can I do my MOR daily and save it as I go, or do I only fill it out once at the end of the month? So you can fill it out daily and save it as you go, and then you upload it at the end of the month just one time, or the beginning of the next month before the 10th. So that's hopefully answers that question.
Actually, it does. You can fill it out daily. What you want to avoid doing is clicking the View Signature button, because that'll begin the process to convert it to read-only.
True. Okay.
If you inadvertently do that, there is a way you can go back. So you're not completely locked out and lost your work in the middle of the month.
Okay. We had another question about the EMOR. Like I said, you can email me and I can send it to you, or Joe will have links on the website, and it's also linked on our website. The next question is, do we still send a copy to the regional office? I don't believe that's required. Sarah can pop in here, but
Well, it's not required. However, I will say that we do have inspectors that have requested MORs be sent to them in the office, and that's usually because they feel like there's a reason for closer inspection. So if you have heard from your inspector that they would like to receive that monthly, then touch base with that inspector and make sure that they want that to continue. In most cases, I would expect them to want to continue that. However, we are struggling with mail at the regional office level as well. We don't have anybody in the office. We have admins going in once or twice a week to sort mail, disinfect mail, get it out to people. And so we do have challenges right now too, but I would just say drop an email to your inspector and see if perhaps you could email it to them if they still want to receive it, and not go to the plant to get it, or you know, I think that's probably the best way to go. Although this new process, I'll say, will expedite our ability to get that information because we won't be waiting on scanning compliance in order to see it. You know, we may eliminate the need for that altogether, but for right now, just contact that inspector and ask them if they'd like to still receive that from you.
okay. And then the next question is, can we continue to use the old form without the electronic signature if we print, scan, or sign scan? Yes, no problem. And then water withdrawal to be sent with the MORs. If you want to send your water withdrawal with the MORs, you can submit it with the MORs, but the electronic process is going to complicate that. So I think I should talk. So those actually go to a separate person or a separate branch. So let me check on that question and see, because usually what we do is just separate them out. So we might need to be more mindful of that. I hadn't thought of that until now. So we'll talk about that. There is an electronic submittal process for water withdrawal through the e-portal, or maybe it's an e-form. I don't know which one.
I think it's e-portal. I believe it's e-portal, and that would be the way to go.
Right. So if you want to look into that, it sounds like Joe can help you with that, or you can give us a call and I can get you in touch with the right person to help you do electronic submittal for that appropriately. So, all right. That's everything. Oh, yeah. I think that's all of ours that we have on here.
Do you mind if I say like just a couple of closing?
I don't mind at all. Let me say one thing real quick though, because I almost forgot. Jackie, who is our AWOP coordinator, asked me to let you guys know, if you are an AWOP system, if you upload your MOR in Excel, the Excel format, you won't have to send it to the TA as well, because the TA can get it that way. So I'm sorry, Beth, I'm done now.
Oh, you're good. So yeah, I actually do want to thank like Jackie and Jenna both for like getting the e-signature help stuff done, because they got that up so quickly and it's so helpful, and I really appreciate that. Also, I just want to just a couple of quick notes that I want to make. I know that we were saying that, you know, it's business rules for the COG account, and for the most part, that's true, but I do want people to be mindful that there are other entities that use the COG. I mean, and we're talking, you know, 200 plus other organizations that could potentially use COG. So if you make one that is your private COG account, I would not share that information. I would make one for the utility itself. And that's just my 2 cents. Also, let's see, there was one thing that I wanted to try to clarify about the PN. We did receive PN, and let's see, you can, I apologize, there's a couple of different ways that people are getting a hold of me right now, and I'm looking all over my screen, and I'm losing my train of thought. But essentially, yeah, I would go ahead and we did already receive the PN. Anything that you would normally be mailing into us, like under normal circumstances that you would be mailing, you can use the e-form for that now. It is not a substitution for the e-portal or e-notification that Sarah Gaddis and them use. And also, if your laboratory is already submitting your results through the e-portal, please have them continue doing that, because they come in a format that is really, really helpful to us. So yeah, use the e-form for anything that you would be normally mailing in. And if you've been using the e-portal, keep using that one. That's about all I got to say. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Beth. I want to thank all of our panelists for being here, and certainly all the attendees. Anything else? Last minute comments, remarks? I see we have no other questions coming in, so I say we should adjourn the webinar.
Thank
All in
you.
favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job,
Bye,
Joe.
everyone.
Thanks, guys.